Hey, Olaran, I guess we should get everybody to tweet out the space, or at least the Discord space. Get them to push us up. We can pass 3 digits easily.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, the post from the Data Haven account, it will be posting un momento. I have it up right now.
Love it.
You can get that one retweeted.
Hello.
Yeah, I think I've sent a bunch out. Hey, Bucky.
Oh my gosh,
Uh,
you're here.
Yeah,
well,
of
you
course I'm
promised he
here.
was coming.
It's
Well,
11
I
o'clock.
don't.
Of course I'm here.
Well, you're supposed to not be here. You're out of town. You're on vacation. Just
Not
wanted
really
to
on
make sure that
vacation.
I know, but we like to pretend you are. I'll get only 1 hour of your time today.
I don't
Yeah,
really know what
and then
vacation is. I sign off and I still sign back on.
I know, welcome
it's
to life.
I call it Web3 anxiety.
I was just gonna say, life of Web3, it never ends. Maybe you can take like a
No.
break in the middle of the day, but sitting on a full 8 hours expecting that that's gonna be my full day, no.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you quit your 9 to 5 to work 24/7 in Web3.
That's
Pretty
it.
much.
I think for Sabrina and I, it's we get that window somewhere around 4 p.m. our time is when
Yep.
there's a small lull and then it just begins again.
Yep. Yeah, I take my nice little evening, late afternoon break and then just hop back online.
Yeah,
That's
and
it.
then I get messages
Um,
from Sabrina until 10 o'clock at night my time.
oh no, I sent you one at like 1 a.m. your time the other day too.
Yep.
Yeah, evenings are when I get my creative juices and make all the cool stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. We went down a rabbit hole the other night, didn't we? I don't know what time
Oh
that
yeah.
was.
Exactly. Yeah, asking really important philosophical questions.
It
And
was
everyone
literally a philosophical rabbit hole.
I know, I knew I was like, everyone's gonna wake up and be like, okay, what are you doing, Sabrina? I was like, not trying to stir the pot, but
Nah, no, it was important. It was good.
So let's get going. Let's start this.
You sure it's not too early? We only have 95 people here.
Okay, let's wait for my 5. 3 digits.
5 more?
We start. 5 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Can everyone hear this music?
Nope.
So just for me.
Can't hear the music, and I got to say, your mic is quite low on volume. Maybe me, but like Sabrina and Bucky are loud and clear.
Can you hear me clear now?
Oh yeah. That's beautiful. Nice.
Cool.
are you playing music through you or through the Discord? Because like I have my music muted right now, but like if I turn that on, obviously I hear it.
For Discord music. We need a DJ for this DJ fans.
Where's DJ Seco?
I know. He's got a great playlist. Ryan's got a good one too. We got to get Ryan to share his playlist.
Do you guys want me to record this call, by the way?
Yeah, let's get some sound bites.
Okay.
We're going to drop nuggets later on, so yes, I would record it.
Okay. I started the Moose bot. Hopefully it actually records. Kevin, right? If I do the thing that Tura said in chat, right? The /record, it should work. Yeah. Cool. All right, cool. We have 101 people in here.
Yeah, I'm actually, and maybe we can ask this later on. People can put in the chat. I would love to know how many different countries are represented by the 100+ people here, because I bet you it's insane.
We can see. So you see the chat on the side for the stage. There's a stage chat.
Yep.
Yeah. Why don't everybody write what country you're from in the chat? Let's see. Got a couple from Ukraine, Russia,
Awesome.
Nigeria in the house.
Nigeria present.
Where are the Brazilians?
Where are you Brazilians? You are hiding? Yeah, the first one.
There we go.
Can I two? Is that fair?
Yeah.
I'll put it in there.
I love Davey Grohlton's profile picture of Bruce and Dave Grohl. That's great.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
That's
David
fire.
Walton. Yeah, that is killer.
Excellent. Excellent name. Excellent
This is fun.
profile.
All right, let's kick it off.
Yeah,
Let's do
so
it.
let's go.
Kevin, you want to give us an intro?
Yeah, I will do it. And so, hello everyone. Hey there, my dear Moose family. Hope
Kevin.
you are doing great. And today we are here to
Might be
answer a
having
big
some mic
question.
issues.
Can you hear me?
Give him another minute.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yeah, the Brazilian. Yeah, so the main three communities, main four, is Ukraine, Russia, Nigeria, and Brazil.
Do you hear me?
So
But
I can.
that's
Bucky, I
for
don't.
now. You know, we still have people
Bucky.
coming in from Indonesia, from Vietnam, and from China. There's a little bit less of them right now.
Is there a way to rotate
Um,
Bucky? I don't think you can hear us.
Kevin, do you got your mic fixed yet?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay, I'm going to DM elsewhere. I'll get him to rotate.
I think people in the audience can hear me.
I can hear you.
Yeah, cool. Baki, you hear me?
I
I
just
think-
asked him to jump off and back on there, you guys. He's coming back.
Yeah, cool. So I say wait for Baki and we start.
We can't even blame it on Google today or AWS because everything's running. Unlike
Are you hear
yesterday.
me?
Yeah, sorry about that.
No
All
problem.
good.
So yeah, I hope you are all doing great and have an awesome Friday. Today I'm here to answer the big question. So what's Data Haven? And to help dive into this one, we got three of the wisest mind from Mount Egan joining us. Baki, Ryan, and Sabrina. You probably already know these three legends from past events, so you already know we are for something good today. I will be hanging out here out in the background, fully hypnotized by the stories of our friend Bruce and the haven he calls home. While I'm also keeping an eye on the chat, so don't be afraid to drop your questions, because you know the best ones might just earn some surprise rewards. Now I will pass the mic so you can hear why it's time to leave the herd and join the heaven. So let's go.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for the awesome intro. Yeah, so we're going to start off with just some introduction between myself, Ryan, and Sabrina. Maybe I'll go first. So, you know, my Web3 name is Baki. My actual name is Neil. I'm based in the US. I've been working Web3 since 2021, around the NFT era time. But I've joined Moonbeam over the last year to help grow this community and grow Data Haven from the beginning. Honestly, it's been a lot of fun working not only with the community, but our moderator team. Our Discord has grown tremendously over the last week. We are now over 2,400 users, whereas last week we were around 500-600. So the community is growing. People are learning about Data Haven. It's been a lot of fun just getting to this point, but we're just getting started. There's so much more for us to do. But let's give an intro to Sabrina, who's been running our socials, and then we can do Ryan afterwards.
Hey guys. Yeah, similar to Neil, Baki. Neil is Baki to me, Baki, Neil.
Yeah.
Same thing. Neil and I met OpenSea back in the day. We were both working in NFT OpenSea, Discord, social events land. So it was NFTs that got me into the crypto Web3 space. I've hopped around, done a couple different things since then, and lovely Baki called me up beginning of this year and was like, hey, this cool thing named Data Haven. I was like, cool, what's that? And then I looked at the website and it was so cute. So I said, yeah, let's go. This sounds fun. So I've been with the team since February. I do social events, creative, anything in the graphics, cool, fun realm. So yeah, very, very excited to be here and build really cool things with Ryan. I'm always learning from Ryan every day.
I love it. Yeah, I'm always blessed. I'm surrounded by some of the smartest people in this industry, and a day never goes by where we don't learn something, share something, or at least have a giggle. I think I've met a whole bunch of, I don't know, there's 100 plus of you here in the past, but I'll give a real quick intro. So I head up BD and partnerships, go to market for both Moonbeam and Data Haven. And I know we're going to dive into one or both or all. And as I like to tell Neil and Sabrina all the time, fire away any and every question you like. There is nothing that I won't answer, but if it's off limits, I will tell you that we will can that question. So one thing, do not even bother asking because it will just be ignored. Don't ever ask anything relating to token or pricing or anything of the like. Quick introduction though. So I discovered this space back in 2013. Very interested because my entire career has been based on all things tech, data center, cybersecurity, data analytics, and I guess the whole world of Web3 and crypto from early on. I did, however, only move into full-time Web3 in 21, which in crypto terms is like 3 centuries. So I've lived through an evolution, dinosaurs, and everything in between. There is not a day that goes by that we are not learning, we are not growing, or we are not challenging. And for those of you that keep your finger on the pulse, you will know, and you're about to learn that at Data Haven, we are doing some incredible building, some incredible growing. We have killer partnerships coming up. We have a bunch of announcements coming up, and we have not stopped building. So when I say it's an exciting time, I am not kidding. Excited to be here. Love being on stage with these guys, and yeah, let's kick it off.
Awesome. Thanks for that. So a lot of the community is really new here. Like most of them joined within the last week or so. So let's just do like a really simple, what is Data Haven, and like what's the vision, what's the goal here?
Yeah, I can answer it in a number of ways. Let's start with basics, and we can dive deeper into it. If you want to dive deeper into any components of our positioning or the product or whatever else, you know how to roll with this, Neil. I also know, and that's why I asked this question in the very beginning, was to understand how many countries and regions we represent. So I will try articulate things clearly, and I will talk a little slower as well. I'm not going to assume that everybody, one, can clearly understand my accent, and two, sometimes I talk a little fast. So I'm going to try keep it concise and consumable for everybody. So what is Data Haven? I'm going to give you guys the one-liner of how I represent Data Haven when I talk to people. And then I think, Neil, we should just dissect that because there is so much in a simple word. So when anybody asks me what is Data Haven, I tell them this simple line. Data Haven is an AI-first storage platform secured by EigenLayer. And it is a very simple sentence to share. It is actually a lot of complexity inside of that, and there's a lot that we can unfold. But before I do that, something that I think is important to share as well about Data Haven is what we're actually building here. I can give you a pitch, but I'm going to tell you what we're building. So we're building an authentic, reliable, tamper-proof, censorship-resistant, decentralized storage platform, making sure that the data that people share, the data that people consume, the data that people, and when I say people, I should have actually clarified, that could be AI or even AI agents, the data that is being used to make critical decisions, so therefore life-changing decisions, or life impacting decisions. It could be financial decisions. It could be just a standard business decision. We're ensuring that when anybody is making a decision based on data, that data that they are referring to is a source of truth, is an untampered source of truth, and they're actually making decisions based on data that they expect to use. It is very important. Authentic data, verifiable data, untampered data, censorship resistant data is very difficult to actually provide. But that's what we're going to be doing. That's what we're building. We already have, and I know we'll get into this a bit later on, we already have StageNet up and running. Testnet is literally around the corner, and Mainnet will not be too far behind it. I guess that's the basics of what it is. Neil, if you want to dive into any of those components around how we position it, I'm happy to dissect.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many ways we can dissect this.
Far away.
Let's start with AI first, and like, why this focus on AI? You know, there's so many other storage platforms. Like, what is going to be different about this one?
Okay. Yeah, love the question. Get asked it probably 73 times a day, easily. So what is AI first? Oh, also, I love arguing about what AI first is. But what do we mean by AI first? What we actually mean is, if you look at where the industry is today, and in fact, where the industry has been for quite some time, where the industry is focusing and where the industry is going, it is very difficult to have a conversation with anybody or any company without having the word AI up. And AI means different things to many people. For a majority of people out there, majority of us, AI usually looks like the form of ChatGPT or Perplexity or Claude or any of those, where you're asking a question, AI, this whole virtual thing is doing a whole bunch of analysis in the background and somehow presents an answer to you. That's great. That's a level of AI. And actually, to date, when we take that a little further, we talk about these AI agents, which are basically like technological people almost, that can go off and do tasks for you, soon to become a little bit more autonomous. Today, primarily human-driven. Most of those AI agents have actually been just basic task bots. So you give them a task, they go off, they do the task, done. And we're starting to see this evolution of AI agents that actually do a lot more complex analysis, and then, more importantly, start making decisions based on that. So when we talk about AI first, what we're talking about is we're building the storage platform with AI use cases, AI agents, AI data in mind. Not an afterthought, not an add-on, not a module that we're suddenly doing. We're not taking a blockchain, forking it, as in forking the code, and suddenly adding in this idea of AI. We've built it from the ground up. And as I love to say constantly, and I think actually Sabrina and I tweet about this quite a bit, we both have verifiability and AI at the core. And so I think, Neil, you asked a little bit about, so what's so different or whatever else, you know? Yeah, if you go back probably 2020, 21, we had the birth of some really great, innovative, functionality-rich or feature-rich storage platforms that came to life. I mean, look at Filecoin, IPFS, Storj, Arweave, all these incredible platforms delivering fantastic services that you could use for storing your data. Back then, exactly as you said, you know, this was the NFT era. That's how people were storing the assets related to the NFTs. These storage platforms delivered what was required during the time and have continued to deliver great services that many of us have consumed. And it doesn't matter which one of them, across the board, have delivered something that has been highly usable. What they haven't done, and that's not by fault, it's more by design, and industry was, they never built it with AI in mind. And what that means is, in order for them to now provide this additional level of functionality for AI use cases, for AI workloads, for AI agents, insert AI with any other word after it, it is unfortunately an afterthought. It's not built into the base code. It's not built into the go-to-market. It's not built into the strategy. It's not built into any of the analysis that was done when the platform was built. And so we've looked at the market. We've analyzed the market. We've looked at where we're going. And just to be clear, the idea of Data Haven started being built about 18 months ago. This is not a yesterday idea or a 2 or 3 or 4 months ago idea. This we've been building for quite some time. And so we've always focused on this AI piece, but I think it is very important as well, because we do pitch this and we do present this as AI first. It is very important for people to understand it is still a general purpose, secured, decentralized storage platform. You can store literally anything you like on it, from a flat file to a database, to images, to audio, to contracts, to whatever you want. And the idea is these files or this data will be stored in a secure, encrypted, tamper-proof, verifiable manner. So it's a long answer to a very short question, but it is important to understand that when we talk about AI first, it means we put AI use cases at the forefront of how we design the platform. And one last piece behind that, which I think we'll talk about a little bit later on, we have Bruce AI, which is our AI agent that's going to be released soon. And I know Lucas spoke about this on the last Discord space that we did. But that's a starting point for us around the AI use case.
I'm really excited for Bruce AI. We've been messing around with him, trying to break him. He's getting better and better. But talking about Bruce, I think it's a good intro to us to talk about just Bruce the Moose and like things about the branding and how we even came up with this Moose. Like whenever I'm scrolling through Discord, I always laugh about how much Moose stuff we have in here. We have Moose keys, we have the Moose Hub, Moose Chat, Moose content, Moose memes. There's like Moose everything. So I kind of want to give Sabrina a chance to kind of talk about the Moose and why why do we pick this animal to represent Data Haven?
Well, honestly, I can't answer that question. I think Ryan can actually answer of the why the Moose. That happened before my time. But from how I inherited it, most crypto companies or good brands have some type of a mascot. So a mascot was definitely very important to the branding. And when looking at all the cute animals that we have, as well as what does Data Haven really represent, security and was a huge thing for us. And when you think of all the different animals in nature and what they all represent in different cultures, moose are huge. I don't know if you've ever looked up moose videos. Definitely do it, because you can go down a wonderful YouTube rabbit hole of how big moose are. They're huge. They're like these crazy, majestic, powerful, but very gentle creatures. So I think I'm not sure exactly who on the team or how it fully came about, but it was pretty obvious at that point that a moose very much so represented what Data Haven was representing. And the Haven itself, we've really created that to be a very safe sanctuary, a very peaceful place. We will be releasing a very awesome origin story video in the next soon is all I will say on that one. But it will give you some very awesome hints of why and how Bruce came to the Haven, how the Haven came to be, what was the world before the Haven, and why Bruce brought all of his friends, including Vera and the fox you mentioned, and the other creatures to the Haven, and what all those creatures represent. So we'll be having a lot more content based on that coming out. And like I said, if you see any of the creatures and they don't have names right now, we've only announced Bruce and Vera the owl's name. So if anyone has any recommendations, always feel free to reach out, and love more community input. We'll definitely be doing some more polls on social as well.
Yeah, let me just add. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, as we keep growing, Data Haven will also be developing the lore and the names and the areas, the creatures. So like all of that's gonna have some community input and design. This is meant to be like a fun part of growing the brand, is like creating the stories behind Data Haven and the Moose.
Exactly. And I think many people will be able to relate to at least one or many of the characters that we have in the Haven, which to me creates a lot more behind it, because you start seeing these characters evolve and take shape, and we'll be able to interact with them and whatnot. Just to Bruce though, or the Moose, one of the fundamental reasons why we ended up choosing a moose at the end of the day is a moose is by default or by design is a protector. It's a very powerful animal. It is also a very, believe it or not, it is a rather majestic animal. And it does represent power and protection, in that we're protecting the Haven. And in this instance, we're protecting the data that lives in the Haven. And so we looked for animals that would either be protective or, of course, we looked for an fun and that we could have a lot of creativity behind. But I also knew that whatever we threw at our incredible team would be able to make it fun and engaging and interactive. But the moose very well represents what we're building and the journey that we're going to be going on with Data Haven. So a little bit more of the background to it.
Thanks. I mean, I love our moose. Ever since we kind of came out with this branding, I've been really obsessed with moose, clearly, and I've been really leaning into it. Some brands kind of like they'll go a little bit into their mascot, into their branding, and then I really want to make sure that Bruce and the moose are like very central to everything that we're talking about and we're doing. I mean, I love this moose. Even like in my name on Twitter, like I still have like the moose emoji in there too.
Yeah, there's also the name Bruce the Moose, and whatever else has a lot of plays on it. Plus, we're getting to create some really cool and fun swag, which the team will see. Yeah,
it's interesting. Bruce was not the name that Sabrina and I were thinking about when we were naming the moose. And it wasn't until the community competition that like that name really came out. Sabrina, what were we trying to name Bruce?
The name that we were like using as a placeholder that I did not like at first, you loved, and I was like, but then it really grew on me, was Milo.
Milo the Moose,
right.
Yeah, it's a good name. It just, it didn't have the right. It was too like young for like how protector Bruce style is. Like Bruce sounds like a man, Milo sounds like a boy.
Yeah, I like Bruce.
Yeah, I'm really thinking of Bruce Springsteen. Like in my mind, Bruce has like a very deep Springsteen style voice.
You don't really see many people named Bruce these days.
No,
just Bruce Wayne and.
Oh yeah.
So Sabrina, actually on that, and then I guess we should get back on track. Yeah, is we should create a moose, Bruce the Moose, with a T-shirt that says "The Boss" or "Boss," which is Bruce Springsteen, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that
maybe
got
for 4th
very
of July.
Boss vibes. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
We will have some. I have some moose or Bruce Moose summer imagery in the works, so we should have that coming out when first day of summer happens in like 10 days or so. So
I'm
we're
both
supposed to have some summer
excited
vibes.
and I'm both excited and fearful.
Oh, of course.
Okay, let's bring it back on track. I want to talk a little bit about EigenLayer and our relationship to them, and like why EigenLayer, why this AVS protocol, and kind of why we took that direction to secure Data Haven with.
Yeah. Okay. So one, for anybody that's never heard of EigenLayer or engaged with it, I'll give it a little bit of a background, but highly recommend. I think we recorded the space that I did with Nader, right? From EigenLayer way back.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. So maybe if you guys have a link to it, post it in the chat. So we had a great conversation with Nader, who's the DevRel for EigenLayer, absolute genius, very well respected in the space. So we went deep into the tech and whatnot. But let me give you an overview of why we're building using EigenLayer, what the relationship means, why we're ridiculously excited and pumped for what's coming down the line, and the ecosystem partnerships. But real quick, so when we announced way back when, which feels like probably coming on a year now, announced this expansion into the Ethereum ecosystem. And I'm talking about Moonbeam and Moonbeam Foundation. So real fast, Moonbeam, EVM L1 blockchain secured by Polkadot. It's a roll-up, or what used to be called a parachain. It's a roll-up in the Polkadot ecosystem, so secured by Polkadot security itself. Data Haven, on the other hand, is this expansion into the Ethereum ecosystem. And it's become very important to us because now we actually address both ecosystems, just with different services and offerings. And so one of the most important pieces when building a decentralized blockchain and a decentralized service is security. It's really cool. Build like we're doing with Data Haven, you can build a secure storage layer. But what if the fundamental layer behind that actions take place where the interactions take place are not that secure? Then that's your weakest link. So when designing this and when starting to build this, we looked at the options for the highest security levels. We don't want to sacrifice performance or security or decentralization. Yes, we don't talk about this anymore, but I guess that was the blockchain trilemma that we used to talk about in the last cycle. And we're not interested in giving up any of those. And so we decided that we wanted to build Ethereum as the security layer, and which arguably has been proven to be one of the most secure layers in all of Web3. And we wanted to do this in a way that actually provided even additional functionality and capabilities. And so what we've done with EigenLayer is we're using what's called Ethereum or ETH restaking to secure the blockchain itself, so to secure Data Haven. And what that means is instead of building like an L2 that settles on Ethereum, or I guess building directly on top of Ethereum. And the reason why we wouldn't do that is because of high gas costs and performance and whatever else. Here, what we're doing is we're ensuring that we have the security of Ethereum. That's what the restaking part is. And I'll just give, I guess, a 1-2 overview of the restaking. So what happens is when you stake ETH, you receive what's called an LST, a liquid staked token. And what that does is it represents your stake. It represents the fact that you've lent a validator some Ethereum, the token to show you that you actually have lent it to them. It's kind of like and then what we do is you can now, because you have this token and this security, you can now extend that and use it to secure another network. in this case, you're actually extending that via EigenLayer to secure other AVSs. AVSs being these autonomous verifiable services. It's basically or services built through EigenLayer. And so what we've done and why we're using this in, sorry, if too much down a rabbit hole technically or whatever else, just let me know. But basically what we're doing is we're providing the highest level of security, as in through Ethereum staking or restaking in this case, running Datahaven. That's what it is. Now, EigenLayer is the first mover and certainly the leader as AVSs are concerned. We could probably share some links and data around AVSs here at some point. And why we chose them was threefold. One, I actually start with the one that I love the most. So something very important to me, and I use this whenever I join an organization or I hire people into an organization or I engage with partners, is culture. And it's very important to me. Culture is something that you cannot teach, but it is something that you can grow and nurture. And so the interaction and the cultural fit between us and EigenLayer, particularly around the BD and the tech team over there, has just been phenomenal from day one. It was never questioning what we're building or questioning why you're building that. It was more of how do we help you? How do we make you successful? And so that was one of the fundamental reasons. The other reason, of course, the technology is second to none. We were looking for a way to secure the blockchain, to secure Datahaven, leveraging Ethereum restaking. These guys are absolutely crushing it. And number three is they have around 200, I think it's roughly, I may the numbers, but it's roughly 200 AVSs, so 200 projects actually building in the ecosystem. And what that gives me to do is, because we've partnered as a preferred storage partner, EigenLayer, it means that anytime an AVS deploys, anytime somebody's building using or on top of the AVS, we have an opportunity to actually become the storage layer of choice. And we're already building a number of partnerships behind that, which I can get into in a bit. But the relationship with EigenLayer is not just critical for us, but it is actually mutually beneficial to us, EigenLayer, and the ecosystem. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm still figuring out the EigenLayer stuff myself, but EigenLayer has been a lot of fun to work with, especially on the spaces. So I did share the link to the space in the chat. I'll share it again for anybody that missed it. It's a really fun space. We had Nader, who was one of the founders, right? Of EigenLayer.
No, he's not. But he is the DevRel. He's basically the dev. The DevRel, the kind of like a tech lead. He's an incredible coder, amazing person, super.
Yeah, it was a really fun space that we did together. Yeah, really recommend everybody should listen to it. I've been just reading through all the questions in the chat. There was one question I really liked, which was asking about Sui and Walrus. So they're another platform that are kind of similar. Well, Walrus is kind of similar to what we're building at Datahaven. So I think the audience would be curious to learn about, like, what's the difference between what we're building, what they're building.
Okay, you're talking about Sui and Walrus, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So let's go back just a little bit to how we started off this conversation. So we were asking about, or one of the questions was, what's so different? What does AI first mean, and why are we different to the other storage platforms? So one of the things I didn't say in the very beginning, and I guess this is where it leads into the Sui Walrus piece, what I didn't say in the very beginning is another huge differentiator for us is because we have Moonbeam, and we have Datahaven, we actually have the EVM L1 blockchain, which we're, from Moonbeam perspective, we've been hyper successful around gaming, RWAs, liquidity gateway. And then at the same time, we have the storage platform. And bear in mind, we have DataHaven, which is this standalone, it's a completely different blockchain, which actually has an execution layer, a smart contract layer, meaning you can literally deploy your Solidity smart contracts, you can build your dApps, you can deploy your dApps, you can grow your dApps on the DataHaven blockchain, and then we have the store. But what we do have, which is very different to anybody else, is we have both the blockchain and the storage platform. The reason why I'm sharing that is different to the likes of a Filecoin and Arweave, a Storj, IPFS, etc. Where it is a little similar to is what Mysten Labs has done and Walrus. So most people don't know this, but Sui, which has been a little bit of a darling of the cycle, primarily because of the team and the investors, Silicon Valley born. It's part of the team that originally built, which was Meta or Facebook's blockchain, split out, and they built, the team split and built Aptos. Half of them built Aptos, half of them built Sui. Sui then, or Mysten Labs, should I say, then went down the path, started building a whole bunch of other products. One of them was Walrus, which came to life earlier this year. It is substantially different and substantially similar in many ways. Where it's very different is how they build, run, and manage their storage itself. They are not an AVS. They are built on top of the Sui network, so they're secured by Sui. At the end of the day, they use a completely different language called Move. I guess I'll try to draw a very nice comparison. DataHaven secured by Ethereum, leveraging and running with Solidity. So the smart contract language used by any ETH-based or Ethereum project. The targets for Sui and for Walrus and the targets for DataHaven are somewhat similar and different. We're starting off focusing very heavily on AI first workloads, as well as AI agents. I think they came out focusing on a whole bunch of other data use cases, which could be anything from NFTs to kind of like your Dropbox-like storage, thanks to the team at Tusky, which has basically built their front end kind of like a Dropbox dApp. What else is different? They are built to service Sui, and they are starting to build and deploy to service Solana as well. We are built to service the Ethereum and EM ecosystem to start off. And with time, we'll open up the API for essentially Sui and any other kind of workloads to be able to use the storage layer. Now, EVM focused, simple to be able to use, and then we'll expand moving forward. Does that answer it?
Yeah, that definitely answers it. I'm amazed that like people aren't going, with not only AI first, but like with EVM in mind. Like EVM is a massive amount of liquidity and developers. Like I'm surprised they haven't been building towards that as well.
Yeah, there's probably. Well, I think there's a reason, but we're starting to see this change completely. So, unfortunately, for the better part of this cycle, ETH or Ethereum has not been the darling of the cycle. Let's just be real. Communities haven't loved it. Crypto Twitter has been pretty negative about Ethereum. There have been a lot of changes with the Ethereum Foundation and the strategy and whatever else. Those that actually understand the technology and those that understand why Ethereum exists and why and what it will produce and what it's capable of. And I will add to that, the Ethereum white paper is what got me to actually enter full-time into Web3, because it just clicked for me and I understood the framework and the technology behind it. What people tend to forget is that it's very easy to crap on a technology because everybody's jumping on the bandwagon. But BlackRock and their program, their BUIDL program, is all built on top of Ethereum. Stablecoins, majority of them built on Ethereum. So it's you raised one of the most important pieces here, which is people forget that a lot of what's built and the only way that they can be built is because Ethereum, or in this case, just EVM, right? The virtual machine. So being able to deploy like layer 2s and other layer 1s and whatever else. But we chose that on purpose because, one, we were very successful in building out Moonbeam as the first EVM chain built in the ecosystem. And of course, we have the skills and the reputation to now build the EVM layer for Datahaven. And the greatest number of Web3 developers out there by far are actually Solidity or EVM developers. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. When you said that ETH wasn't the darling of the cycle, it really started to make me think about that and how like everybody's been obsessed with Solana meme coins, and sure, there's a lot of liquidity flowing through them, but the actual like growth that it does for the ecosystem is not there. You know, it's mostly just fun.
100%. I mean, you can ask anybody when the last time was that Ethereum went down, and there's only one answer, and that's
yeah. There was a question about Moonbeam and Polkadot, and if we're still a parachain on Polkadot. I think it's going towards the "Are we leaving Polkadot" conversation.
Oh, okay, yeah. Excellent question. I feel like we've answered this a billion times, and I'm happy to answer it another billion times. So, Moonbeam is a parachain or rollup built in the Polkadot ecosystem, secured by Polkadot. Lives there, will live there, is not moving from there. Datahaven is an EVM blockchain with the storage layer on top of it, secured by Ethereum restaking. It is not a departure. It is not us abandoning Moonbeam in any way, shape, or form. In fact, I've grown the BD team to help support Moonbeam, to help grow Moonbeam. If you watch what's happening around the Twitter space or some of the live streams that we do or some of the announcements that we have, you'll see how gaming is absolutely booming. Gaming tournaments and competitions are absolutely booming. We have RWA projects launching. We have Deepin projects. DeFi is starting to pick up quite nicely. And so we're building, growing, and maintaining Moonbeam as we did before with the same amount of passion. Datahaven is complementary. Datahaven provides the secure decentralized storage platform where anybody building in the Polkadot ecosystem, anybody building on Moonbeam, anybody building on any EVM ecosystem can leverage Datahaven. It doesn't compete with Moonbeam, it complements Moonbeam. Very important to understand. And in fact, what we decided to do as well, and we've shared this publicly, is there will be a product called Storage Hub that will actually be integrated and built into Moonbeam itself, which essentially could become the storage platform which provides Data Haven services for Moonbeam, and for the Polkadot ecosystem, and Data Haven will handle a lot of the other storage requirements. But to answer the question directly, not Moonbeam, not a departure from anything we're building. We've built with complementary services in mind.
I think I cut out there for a second. Did you talk about the native bridge between
No.
Moonbeam and Data Haven?
Not yet. Great question. Or great comment, should I say. So on top of all of this, to make it really easy for workloads to communicate between Moonbeam and Data Haven and vice versa, we will have this native trustless bridge in place. So it will act almost like one, but not. It's the closest we can get to basically joining the two blockchains together.
Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of questions about like partners, launch partners, and what kind of projects
we'll
be working with. Let's kind of dive into that. I know
Let's
that
do that.
Eigenlayer, we're a preferred storage partner for Eigenlayer. I know we'll be talking to a lot of other companies. Our applications for launch partners have been, blowing up. It's hard to keep, track of. But like, what are you looking for? And maybe you can name some other partners that we've been, signed up to work with. If you can kind of leak that information early.
Maybe I may be able to leak one or two. Let's see how much of this espresso kicks in now. So we have a great list of launch partners. This is something that I've been working on. Well, we've been working on, shall I say, for quite some time, and we've been very strategic in how we've built out the launch partner before we opened it out to the external world and said, "Come forward," And exactly as you said, we've been inundated with requests. I'm struggling to keep up with them at the moment, which is a great feeling, but I do want that I can give everybody the TLC that they deserve. So from a perspective, we're looking at absolutely not having 100 of the same. I don't want 100 AI agents. I don't want 100 healthcare use cases, for example. What we want is a good sample set of different use cases that cross over both AI agents and also general purpose storage. So I can't leak a name, but I will certainly leak the ecosystem that they belong to. So one, we actually have a contract management system that will be one of our partners. What this company does is they actually allow people to store any of these legal agreements, particularly associated with property development or land ownership or whatever else. So your title and whatnot will actually live on the blockchain on purpose. It needs to have provenance, needs to be provable and verifiable. And this will be done in a Dropbox-like manner as to how the documents are stored and managed. The piece that I can leak is we will have between 1, 2, potentially even 3 of virtual agents that will be interacting, building, and growing with Data Haven. And in fact, we have one. So somebody asked that question about this whole potential departure from Moonbeam. Let me just show you or explain why that is definitely not the case. Is one of these virtual agents that we are actually working with will have functionality that exists on Moonbeam, and then a core component that lives on Data Haven. So if you've been following virtuals and the AI agent ecosystem with virtuals, in fact, they had a massive announcement this week around Iris. Have a look at what they're doing. We're starting off with 1, 2. Hopefully we'll open that up to a large number of other AI agents. We also have some very important and critical AI infrastructure players. Some we may or may not be co-hosting events with quite often. one of which is an AI agent launchpad, which supports ELIZA and probably focus around ELIZA OS. We also have two AVS infrastructure players where we as Data Haven will be plugged in as an option for anybody building an AI agent, anybody building an AVS, or anybody leveraging like GPUs or the structure for AI, where it will essentially be like a checkbox, or like I love to say, like a sushi menu option. There will be a checkbox to select your storage platform, and that storage platform just so happens to be Data Haven. And we also, there is something super exciting. I absolutely cannot divulge the name, but there is high potential that there is another leading L1 blockchain that is looking to integrate Data Haven as a core service for all of the projects living in their ecosystem. I absolutely cannot divulge their name, but I just want to share that there is stuff in the works that nobody's ever going to know about until we release it. We're very cautious also about our announcements. I do not care, and I don't think anybody in our team cares for these, Data Haven X partner announcements that have nothing behind it, a nothing burger announcement. We're going to be announcing actual partnerships and programs and achievements that have substance and credibility behind them. And when you ask about the partnerships, ecosystem, partners, all this kind of stuff, one of the one items that we're working towards is ensuring that there is revenue generation behind this. If you heard me, I'm pretty vocal about this on crypto Twitter. Anybody that's not building with revenue generation in mind is just not going to succeed. We have to build real projects. We have to build businesses, and we are doing exactly the same. And we have some very well aligned partners that are looking to build joint revenue generating products together with us. We will take to market. So although Data Haven on the surface just looks like a haven for Bruce the Moose and his friends and a storage platform, we're actually building out with a much bigger vision in mind, and with products, partnerships, revenue generation in mind.
Ryan, I love your food metaphors. The
sushi menu?
and the nothing burger.
Yeah, I didn't even realize I used both of those in one sentence.
No, I love it. I love it. I was thinking we didn't get a chance to talk about the broken telephone, but I think that's gonna be for another time since we're coming up on time. I think like two questions that I've been seeing in the chat. One that everybody's been kind of waiting for is if you can give any timelines. I know we have StageNet live. Is there anything you can share about testnet or mainnet? And then the second one that was asked by Alice that I really liked is like, what is our North Star? What does success look like for Data Haven?
Okay, brilliant questions. I think I may have shared about the timelines earlier, but let me share again. So StageNet up and running, which was a huge milestone for us. Testnet, call it coming weeks, we will have testnet up and running. And when we do so, we will actually start having a bunch of our launch partners begin to build and deploy and test and hopefully break, so we can find all the cracks before we go to mainnet. And more importantly, we can actually address any kind of new features that we want to build in. So when I say that we've chosen strategic partnerships, it's not just because they bring value to us, but they are going to help us shape the product. So there may be some feature sets that we never thought of, especially around the AI side, that we will add into the core product. And then as far as mainnet is concerned, target is end of Q3. if all goes to plan, everything aligns, that's when we are aiming for mainnet. Now, it's technology. Timelines slip, but that is what we're working towards. And
I think it's a pretty sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. No, go for it.
I was just gonna say, I think it's a pretty aggressive timeline. Honestly, I remember when we first announced, we announced Data Haven beginning of the year. I think it was like January 14th, I believe. So we're, we've been working very quickly and very, carefully throughout this whole process. We got to stage it pretty quickly, and we're gonna, I don't see too many projects building this fast. Sometimes I even see projects doing a whole bunch of marketing, talking about nothing, building nothing, and then people are just like waiting for the hype to actuate to something, and sometimes it never does.
Exactly. And even though we've pushed real hard to build and deploy during this time, if we've needed to step back a little just to make sure that one, we're not delivering a buggy platform. Two, we are delivering something that people want and will use. Three, we're taking a lot of feedback from these core partners and launch partners to make sure that we're building a viable product. So we've been cautious. We're working pretty fast and round the clock, but we have. I am rather impressed with our timelines to date.
Yeah. Well,
there was a second part to your question, and I know we're over time, but you asked me two things. I can't remember the second one.
The second one is like, what does success look like? What's our North Star? Like, how will we know that Data Haven, has succeeded, essentially?
Oh, that's like Sabrina and I discussing things after midnight. It becomes very philosophical here. This is a very philosophical question that you've asked. What does North Star look like? I think you got to look at this like any kind of successful, sustainable business. We want to be a preferred or the go-to storage platform for AI and AI use cases. We want to be known that whenever somebody's building in AI, with AI agents, when people think about the importance of verifiability, of authenticity, of secure data and data workloads that they can make critical decisions on in a not just a trust manner, but a verifiable manner, that every single time they think of Data Haven. When we crack the code and we have these decent sized Web 2 companies looking to dabble into Web 3 and bringing workloads into Data Haven, when we build products together with some of our partners where you don't even realize that when you're purchasing the product, you're getting the service that you're after or the product that you're after, and under the covers, you have Data Haven plus XYZ partners. That to me is when we start to crack the code, and we're becoming rather successful. And of course, we have metrics in mind around growth, so adoption, usage of storage, new users, typical business mechanisms, new users onboarding, new use cases onboarding, new projects onboarding, everything along those lines. And we will push to become hyper relevant.
Yeah, when I think of Data Haven success, I keep thinking of the like how much data we can really store on Data Haven. I actually never heard of a petabyte. Sorry, I'm like looking them up right now. So like everybody's heard of megabytes, gigabytes, terabytes. It's also petabyte,
Exabyte,
exabyte, zettabyte.
Yep.
And then a yottabyte. That's crazy. I remember when like USBs came out and it was like, if your USB had like 128 megabytes, this was like a $200 USB at the time.
So yeah, I mean, we could probably park this for another conversation, but I don't know if you remember this or if you know this, but that's how I started off most of my career was actually building storage platforms, infrastructure, data centers and whatnot. And that was well before we were looking at petabytes or exabytes. So, it is crazy. You're right. We've gone from these little USB drives to numbers that you can't even imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom is still amazed that things just live in the cloud. The cloud branding has been amazing. It's just like up in the air. Your information is being stored and saved everywhere. But
it's going to become the same as blockchain. The big black box. Nobody knows where it is, but it's there and it's safe.
Yeah, that's what Datahaven is going to be, storing your data safely and immutably.
Exactly.
But listen, Ryan, thank you so much for coming by the Discord. This is a lot of fun. I know we're well over time, and I'm sure you have a million other calls today. So really appreciate you staying over.
Of course.
This was a fun chat. I know the community would love to keep hearing from you, and I know you'll be back.
Happy to jump on any time. I will say this though, Bucky, if there are any or DMs or whatever else for me in Discord, just hit me somewhere else. I don't live in Discord, but I do live in Telegram and X. It's just I can't manage all three of these. It's insane.
Yeah, of course. I definitely see you active in Telegram. So anybody who hasn't joined our Telegram yet, it's at Datahaven_official. I'll throw it into the chat here as well.
And one last thing, actually, I did want to say this, and I meant to say this in the very beginning. For everyone and anybody that's part of this audience, that's part of the community, that's part of the Datahaven ecosystem, I just genuinely want to thank every single one of you guys that have been interacting with socials, our tweets, our Telegram, our Discord, anybody that's been retweeting or commenting, or just as importantly, those that have been actually interacting with other people's posts that helps get a Datahaven name out there. And also there have been, and I do share these internally, Neil and Sabrina will attest to this, whenever I see posts that any of you have created that just really hits the mark, I send it over to them so that they can share, repost, and whatever else, because you guys are doing a killer job and I absolutely appreciate it.
Something fun that we've been doing in the Discord is if a post gets retweeted by you or the Datahaven handle, they'll actually earn a Moose key. So it's been really fun. Yeah. So
I wasn't aware of that. Yeah, I do actually retweet a number of them. I'm cautious. I make sure that all the facts are correct. And if they are, then I'm always happy to retweet.
Yeah. No, this community has been really awesome. It's definitely exploded over the last week, but even like throughout the months of building this, the people that have been here since day one and have been here, as of recent, it's been really amazing. It's been a lot of fun in here. Really genuinely a great community.
Yeah.
But on that, I think I'll let you go. We're gonna wrap up this call. I'm not sure what else I can share. Maybe the community might have some questions about like Moose keys and like community programs I can stick behind and kind of answer a couple more of those. Sabrina, I don't know if you want to stick around and talk about anything, but you're more than welcome to kind of keep hanging out.
Well, I can say that.
But I'm gonna switch devices real quick. I gotta take the dog out, but I'll be right back, guys.
Cool.
I have literally 2 more minutes before I got to jump to another call. So if there is a question or something that you want me to answer, you've got me for 120 seconds.
Okay. Let me see. I'm gonna kind of ask something pretty broad, kind of like what's been your favorite part of working on Datahaven? Kind of keep it at that. Kind of wanna go into that direction.
What's been my favorite part?
Yeah.
Oh, I can actually very easily answer that. So if you know my background pretty well, I've built and run BD and partnerships for 4 blockchains, and in doing so with ChainStack, I worked with about 20 different blockchains. But what I have never done, and that is what I am loving doing with DataHaven, is built from the ground up. And most people will never get that opportunity. And I am beyond appreciative, excited, and challenged every single day to be able to build this from ground up, knowing that we can listen to the outside world and add that to the ideas that we have and build a service that I believe will be a viable product that people, well, we already know people need it and will use it. But just being able to build in the trenches where I get to use both parts of my background, both my technical and my business background, and then working with this killer team has been hands down the best thing ever. And I highly recommend anybody that wants to challenge themselves or anybody that really wants to grow and excel and just have a ton of fun. I mean, they're good days and bad days. If you want to have a ton of fun, get involved in a killer project in the space. That's been my best part.
Said. That's really well said. I completely agree. I think that's my favorite part too. Being part of like a founding team kind of ground up has been an incredibly unique experience. Like in other roles, it's kind of been more of a maintenance type of thing. But like when you have a blank canvas and it's like, here you go, time to build, the creative explosions that are happening in your brain is really amazing.
And the challenges, right? One of the favorite things I love is somebody telling me that I can't do something. And I tend to feel like we get that every single day. You can't do it this way. You can't do that. This won't work. Well, guess what? We'll find a way. And that's the best part of building from ground up and building with a brilliant team, brilliant community, and just decent opportunity ahead of us.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I completely agree. Ryan, thanks so much for stopping by. Honestly, this was a really fun, especially fun AMA. I'm looking forward to the ones we're going to have more in the future, but this was awesome.
Anytime.
Thank you so much, Ryan.
Anytime. Of course, yeah. You know where to find me. Thank you, everybody. Have an incredible Friday weekend, and stay safe out there. We'll chat soon.
Thanks, Ryan.
All right.
See you around.
Later. Bye.
Yeah, I wanted to stick around for a couple more minutes and answer some more community-oriented questions. Also, give Sabrina a chance to talk. Sabrina, you're out walking Una, right?
Correct. I am, but I'm still here. You guys hear me, right?
Yeah. Wanted to kind of see if you want to talk about like we just mentioned how we're going to be awarding Moose Keys for content that gets reposted by the DataHaven handle or by Ryan. So kind of like, can you just take a minute to talk about like what type of content you're looking for, or like what kind of standard of content you're looking for? I think that'll be super helpful for everybody.
Sure. I am definitely like Ryan, wanting to make sure that all content is accurate and what is being said so that, we're spreading the truth information, just like the message of DataHaven. I am also pretty strict on the way that graphics and imagery look. Just because we are a new brand and startup, it is very important for our brand to be getting brand awareness right now. So anything that's published from the DataHaven account or even reposted needs to really look just like our branding. Of course, there's a few exceptions. And I know we posted like some fan art. We had some like custom drawings that were amazing. So there's definitely some, and the cake. And then I think there was like some clay sculptures recently. So obviously, there's some like, what did we used to call them in the NFT days, Neil? Not spin-offs, but iterations or forgot what that word was. You know what I'm talking about? Just wait a minute.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Now that you asked me for the word, of course I'm not gonna remember it.
I know. So yeah, there's some things like that. Good morning. But yeah, so we do have a folder of a bunch of assets. Come on, Una, let's go. Sorry, walking the dog and she got to make friends with everybody. We do have a folder of assets that I can share with mods. We can make sure that everyone in the Discord has access to, because we have a really amazing illustration team who's making custom illustrations for almost everything you see. I also make a lot of the graphics, mostly like the AMA for today and things like that. So we have a lot of things you guys can work with, as well as like a brand guideline sheet. So not super strict, but you can always recycle the things that we've already posted. So lots of stuff, and there is a bunch more things coming out. So I know you guys have been making some really cool infographics about moose keys that really help explain that. We'll also be publishing some similar ones in our exact style. So once those come out, I'm sure you guys will be loving to recycle those and be a lot more informational and help you understand and onboard some new people into the community.
Yeah, and the word is derivative, I think, right? That's what you're
Derivative.
looking.
Yes, the derivatives.
Oh my
Fun
God,
times.
yeah, the NFT OpenSea days were awesome. Sabrina and I always talk about like that was like the best time in Web3 so far. Kind of waiting to get those NFT vibes back.
It definitely was like the most creative feeling of like what Ryan said is, when someone tells you you can't do something, it makes you want to do something even more. I mean, that's why my mom and I don't get along too well, but it's really interesting in like the creative space of being able to do that and having no limitations and, working with people who really just like, yeah, let's try it. And that was the cool thing about NFTs. And I still believe in NFTs, just there was a lot of monkey JPEGs. I totally understand that. And we don't need to be
Yeah.
drinking shoes to be a good community. But other than that, I do believe in it was a great time to bring community together. I mean, I still rock my Dead Fella, and that's a great community. So there's definitely something there with NFTs. And I think, everyone in this community definitely can probably feel that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm rocking this Glimmer Ape, which was the like OG NFT project on Moonbeam. Really great community there. They also built out the Pink Drop and the Great Escape game. Now I really love NFTs, but the issue with NFTs back then was like they were using them as like essentially like meme coins, right? Just like trade and to grind. But I mean, the actual meme coins are less gas, they're easier to produce. You don't need to spend a bunch of time on art. You don't have to build out a Discord. I think that's kind of what happened with NFTs and their downtrends. Also, like with the royalty stuff, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I would say royalties killed it, at least from my side of being so into the art side of the community. And a lot of my friends who got me involved in it was, their lives were changed with NFTs because they were able to get in front of people they would never have gotten in front of unless they spent decades trying to reach galleries and things like that. So I think that was kind of the big killer. And, so many
yeah.
projects who people were like, oh yeah, let's just make art. And I had a project approach me once, like, we'll pay you $10 for every line you draw on this piece of paper. We just need 2 lines per piece of paper. And it was like they were trying to make like a 10,000 collection of like hand drawings, but like literally like nothing. I was
Hand
like,
drawn
okay, this
line.
is, yeah, like they're like, oh, this is gonna like make millions. And it was really like a pitch deck to investors. Like it was wild.
Wow, wow, that is wild. There's a funny question in the chat that I think we need to answer. So, EPT said, if a dog goes woof and a cat goes meow and a bird goes tweet and cows moo, frogs croak, what do moose do?
Moose, moose,
Moose moose?
moose, moose.
um, I think moose actually moo as well.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it's like a kind of like a. I think it's like almost like a donkey and a moot combined. I've seen some videos. I mean, I told you guys if you really want to go down a YouTube rabbit hole, look up moose. There's a bunch
well,
of
okay.
really interesting content.
So I googled what sound do moose make. So males make bellows, roars, and grunts during the rut. I don't know what the rut is.
Oh, come on, you
Females
know what a
make
rut is.
Oh, like in Heat?
Yeah.
Mating
Or,
season?
one.
Okay.
Yeah. Duh.
Okay.
Now you know. Learn
yeah.
something new every day. Look at that.
I don't know
Who would have
that's what a
guessed?
rut was.
I'm pretty sure. Sounds like it.
Moose. No, there's a bunch of mooses in Moose chat. Moose Lodge. Moose like Jews.
Moose are pretty cool.
Moose are pretty cool. Yeah, I can't believe that Val had moose in her backyard.
Stefan also. We have a bunch of moose footage that I actually we were probably gonna have some live moose sightings this weekend on X because there have been some live moose sightings from multiple members on our team.
Those things are huge. I don't know how you even get near a moose. They're pretty scary, honestly. They're chill until they're not, and then they chase you down. But yeah, not seeing any more questions about like community stuff. So I think we're gonna call it at this at 12:20. I am late to another little moderator team event that I'm hosting with everybody, kind of getting a call together. But this was a lot of fun. I'll keep answering questions in chat later on throughout the day and over the weekend into next week. So keep the questions coming, and then like I will review. So we've been all keeping track. Me, Sabrina, and Kevin been keeping track of different questions coming in through chat. So I'm going to pick about 3 of them to distribute moose keys for, and we'll make an announcement about that as well. Cool.
Thanks, Baki. This was fun.
Yeah. It was fun, man.
Yeah, and we'll answer questions on X too. So if anyone missed anything, we'll be sure to follow up on some of your most asked questions.
Yeah, I remember what Sabrina said. Get your notifications on Twitter too. On X.
Yeah, get your
X.
notifications on Twitter. No, we have a lot of cool announcements coming up. Over the weekend into next week, we have a lot of fun stuff planned. You're all in Discord, obviously, but make sure you're following our X. Make sure you're in Telegram. We haven't been promoting our Telegram too much, but as of next week, we're going to be doing new Zealy quests about getting stuff into Telegram, getting conversations going to Telegram. So that's going to be pretty important for everyone. But this is a lot of fun, and we're going to keep hosting more events and more AMAs. Kevin, do we already know what's happening next week for an AMA?
Yeah, we can have another AMA, or can maybe play some poker again if you don't have it.
Yeah, the community really wants to play poker.
Yeah.
Sabrina, you need to come by the next poker night. It was pretty crazy. There was 100 people playing poker.
Yeah.
Does it matter that I don't know how to play poker?
I think
you just need to like people need to think you know.
You just gotta go all in every hand.
Okay, that's fine. Sounds good.
Yeah.
I'll get better for that.
Works.
Okay.
I'll come play.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for stopping by. Let's keep chatting in the Discord chats, and again, it's been a lot of fun, and we'll see you around. Thank you for coming to the call.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.